What's up, y'all? This is Conversations with Q. I'm gonna play this video I seen on Instagram, and then we're gonna get into the thoughts of the video.
You deal with a man that is more sensitive than you.
It gets strange for me in conversations like these when we talk about one party being more sensitive or more soft. And a lot of times that kind of boxes men in, and it's alarming because if a man can't be sensitive and soft in his relationship, then where can he be? Like I don't know too many men that don't want to take their guard down with their old lady. Like I don't want to have to come home and protect myself from you. Like do you know what I gotta go through out in the world, and then to have to come home and guard and tiptoe with you because I can't be vulnerable? Like, even when we use the word soft, bruh, a man being hard all the time will destroy him. Get you a man that gotta be hard all the time and see how he handle you. Brother, a man has to find softness in himself to properly handle those parts of you. Empathy is like a huge quality that's necessary for a healthy partnership. And in order to empathize, one almost has to see oneself. And if a man can't see himself in your emotions, if he can't see himself in your softness, then again, what do you think he's going to do? So when you talk about not wanting a man that's more sensitive than you, that's you falling into training that cuts pieces of a man off. And then you complain about those pieces being missing when he show up at your doorstep.
How do you deal with a man that is more sensitive than you?
I was gonna say, I feel Trip and what he's saying, but I feel like that wasn't what she was saying on some things.
Okay.
Because I do feel her. Like, if a man can be vulnerable with you and like show his sensitivity and stuff like that, and be around you and just kind of let loose, why is he with you? Like, at that point, like, y'all should both be able to be vulnerable with each other.
Right.
But if a dude is overly sensitive, and I've met many dudes that are overly sensitive, and you could say one little thing and they look like they boo-hoo crying, or they just in their feelings. It's just like, and then they get to that point where they get petty sensitive.
That's like a child.
Yeah, and it's like, why we can't conversate about it? If I hurt your feelings, tell me that you hurt your feelings. Now you know, and we can't even communicate and figure out, like, okay, where are the lines with this? You know what I'm saying? Or why are you so sensitive about that topic?
I hear you, but in that I feel that you have to be an emotionally mature woman for a man to even be able to have that conversation with you. A lot of times, men can be oversensitive, but something you said, okay, say that to me. But typically not 100% all the time, but most of the time when a man expresses his feelings, he's deemed soft or sensitive or sassy, as y'all like to say now. So, and y'all don't, as women, y'all don't take in consideration that we've been conditioned over time to not express our feelings. So whenever we have or we do, and the rebuttal is, stop being sensitive, stop you being soft, stop being sassy. So after plenty of times of that being that way, we learn through that behavior not to communicate because we don't have a safe place to communicate. So it's up to you as the woman to provide that
Communication,
provide the space for us to be able to communicate that. And then communication has to be a safe space for both parties, because then you can say, well, I feel like you're being oversensitive. And then a lot of times it's how it's said. You can communicate and say, hey, bro, you could for example, Q, you being oversensitive. Get out your emotions and feelings. Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Or it could be like, hey, I don't know if that triggers something in you or what, if you want to talk about it, but I feel like you're being a little oversensitive. And I'm not trying to be downplay why you feeling that way, but I'm not understanding. that was communicated like, okay, all right, so now me being oversensitive, I got to take a step back and say, okay, well, this is the truth behind it. When you said this or did that, this has happened to me so many times that, yeah, I might be a little sensitive about it and my emotions came out. I didn't handle that in the right way. There was a safe space for me to communicate my feelings. But the way you gave me, you telling me that I'm being oversensitive, I could digest that. So now we can talk about it. A lot of times it doesn't get talked about. Then you have to know, this is where dating comes in. When you're dating, you're gathering data about somebody. You don't know how was their childhood. How did their father treat them? How was their mother? What happened to you that causes you to be this way? I'm a guy that wear my emotions on my sleeve. I can't hide my emotions. I especially can't hide them from you as my wife, and I can't hide them from my mother. No matter how hard I try, y'all just know me in that way. But I wear my emotions on my sleeve. So a lot of times you can tell if I'm pissed off by the look on my face. You can tell if I'm having a great day by the look on my face. You can, if something rubbed me the wrong way or I'm being petty, you can typically tell by looking at my face.
Okay, so do you feel like Randy, do you feel like it's our job to create that safe space for the man to feel like they can come to us in their sensitivity? Because a lot of women feel like, why do I have to do all of this for you to basically meet me halfway in your sensitivity? You get overly sensitive by certain things I say, but and then don't want to communicate about it. But now I have to create this space for the man to just give me what I want, basically, and that's communication. But y'all are so traumatized by your past trauma to where now I have to go through these avenues and create a space and a box and all this type of stuff. Because I hear people say that a lot.
So, I mean, as a man, I could very well flip the question. Is it our job to create that same space for you?
What same space?
For communication. For you to have a safe space to where you can feel vulnerable, not feel judged. Because with men, there's a spectrum. I'm either going to be hard all the time, I'm going to be too soft or sensitive, or I'm going to find somewhere in the middle of that spectrum where I'm not too hard, but I'm not too sensitive.
Yeah, but what about a guy where you feel like you're creating that space and they are just basically, I'm not going to say running from it, but not taking advantage, or I guess not really trusting? So are you supposed to just be sitting there and wait months and months, years and years at a time for you to feel comfortable in a space that I'm creating for you to feel okay? Or do you feel like there's still like some imperfections in the space?
Communication again, because you're saying that you feel that you're creating, but are you really creating that safe space? Because you can feel like you're doing something, but it's not being received as that's what you're doing. Because again, the only perspective you have to go off of is your own. So until there's communication to say, well, look, I believe I'm creating a space for you to communicate. And until that guy says, no, you're not. Because you still doing this. Or so for a lot of women, body language. You might not verbally say something out your mouth, but your face, like, okay, I'm creating a space for you. How? I can't read that. But if you're like, nah, like genuinely like, nah, I believe that I'm creating a safe space for us to be able to talk. Like, so can you please, like, I really want to know, like, where that's coming from. Like, why does that trigger you so much? There's a conversation, there's a flow in that says like, okay, she genuinely wants to know. Because again, a lot of things get weaponized against the guy. Because a lot of guys feel like, okay, I was vulnerable with someone before, and later when she was mad at me or her friends, she telling her friends she doing this, now I'm coming around and they snickering and laughing, they doing little things. So you can believe that you're creating a safe space and you're really not. Just like we can. Oftentimes as men, we could feel like we creating a safe space for you. But we got to understand women. Women like to feel secure. But as a man, I want to feel secure too. My security just doesn't look how your security looks. You want to be secure financially. I know, okay, we going out, my man got it. Or you want to feel secure and safe with that man. If somebody jumps stupid, my man finna knock you out. Or he gonna at least stand up for me. Like, so your security looks different. Your safety looks different. My security is knowing I got a woman that everybody ain't had. Oh yeah, I can feel secure in you going out with your girls because I know if somebody gonna try to talk to you, you gonna be like, nah, I got a boyfriend. You'll have friendly conversation, but at a point, you know where to draw the line. Like, hey, bro, you getting a little too. I don't think my man will appreciate me having conversation with you past this. You know what I'm saying? Like we want the same thing. It just look different. We all want security. We all want safety. But the way you feel secure and safe as a woman is not the same how I feel safe and secure as a man with you. That's why a lot of times it takes men some time to know if they want to marry a female. Because there's, just like as a woman, you may not physically have a checklist of boxes that you checking, but sometimes in your thought process, you sitting there thinking like, dang, I really love him. Do he show me love? How does he show me love? What's his sacrifices like? Same thing with us. Okay, this woman, like, okay, if I wasn't able to do the stuff that I am able to do for her, would she leave me? Because is it more about what I can do for her? Or is it more about me? Do you love me or you love what I provide for you? Because when you marry, all that could get taken away. One accident could change our whole marriage. Now I can't provide the way that I once was providing. You gonna leave me because I can't provide no more, or you gonna honor your vows and say, okay, I gotta work now. I gotta do something more to make sure. Yeah, I'm the breadwinner, but do I throw that in my husband's face because I make more money than he do? Or do I sit back and say, no, we in this together? Because there may be sacrifices in that. You know what I'm saying? So everybody has a part to play. And as long as everybody's genuinely playing their part, there should be harmony. There should be peace, but it's work. A lot of times we don't want to work at it. We don't want to have the hard conversations. We don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. But sometimes it takes that because you need the friction to change. But we got to have the conversation. But there has to be a space to communicate. And until there's a genuine, safe place where you as a woman feel that this is a safe place for me to communicate what I see or to challenge my man or to let him know how I'm feeling, and vice versa as a man, because a lot of times men have a lot of things we want to say to women, but we don't say it because we're choosing peace, because we know if we say certain things, that conversation gonna go all the way left, because you don't hear what I said, you hear or feel like I attacked you, and I'm not attacking you. A man could literally say, I think you're the greatest mom in the world, and I just think you should, sometimes you shouldn't yell at the kids like that. And a woman will hear, so what you saying, I'm a bad mom because I yell at my kids? I literally started off saying you're the greatest mom in the world, but you didn't hear none of that. And that gets a lot of, so we've just learned over time, I've heard it said like this. Do you want to have peace or you want to be right? Now I want to have peace. So a lot of times peace is me, or the way we perceive peace at times is me not sharing what's really on my mind and my heart because I don't want to argue with you. But I'm missing an opportunity to communicate with you to help you grow for the better, or vice versa, because there's a lot of, we can internalize things and take things in the same light and say, well, you challenge, I've done it with you. I did it with you before we got married. Just telling you, feeling like, you're an adult. You need to stand up to your parents. Da, 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 da. But I live at home with my parents. And you was like, yeah, but what if I do that and they put me out? Because that's their house. That's their standard. Then what? What, I'm going to live with you and your parents till we get married? And I very well was like, I kind of got offended. I got defensive. But then when we got off the phone and I sat in that for a second, I'm like, she's just challenging me because she's right. Right now, I don't have my own place. We trying to worry about this wedding thing. Like, so I took it as a challenge. Like, you know what? Okay, humble yourself a little bit. I had to see where you were coming from. Sometimes we don't do that. It's about being right. It's not about peace. It's not about the betterment of us. It's literally about being right. I want to be right. And anytime that's your case, it's dead.
I mean, I'm good.
Well, I have a question.
What's your question?
Do y'all think, we were talking about creating a safe space for our spouse or whatever. So do you think if you and your spouse are having like a hard time, should the woman or should the man, should we go to our best friends or our friends to like basically like vent to them? Like you said, like when the guy come around and they're like snickering and stuff, like, is that wrong to like vent to your homegirls about your relationship?
You can go ahead.
Honestly, I think you shouldn't be venting or asking for advice from anyone who is not in a situation where you want to be.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Like, because think about what you're saying. If you're asking your homegirl who is single or in and out her own relationship or been in toxic relationships for advice or things about issues you and your man got going on, what type of response do you think you're going to get from that person?
Yeah.
So it's like the wise thing to do if you want, it depends on what type of outcome you really want. Like, I mean, if you want a toxic answer, then yeah, go to your friends if they're in toxic situations. If you want a singles person's perspective, then then go to a singles person. Like, it depends on where you want to go.
I think it's basically where they are. You know what I'm saying? Because you could have the homegirl that's married, or you could have the homegirl that's in a good, healthy relationship, and her boyfriend communicating. They like them the type of people you don't want to vent to.
Where are
now
they?
not telling them all the business, but hey, I got a question. Like, how are you and so and so, how y'all communicate so good? Y'all never have issues or problems? Cause I'm having this one particular problem with homeboy, and like I don't know how to play it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But so you have to just be careful who you say stuff to, because you'll get past it, but they'll hold on to it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that'll come back up, and then it's like, now he looking at you crazy.
I thought you and such and such was doing this. Like, okay. But you don't know, back home we've settled that.
Right.
Yeah. And then people start to judge and start judging your person. So telling everybody your business ain't always the best thing anyway.
And then you start getting into it back and forth with, where y'all feel like now y'all could jump in and say what y'all want to say and speaking to each other about each other's relationships. You know what I'm saying? So you just got, it has to be a respect there. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can advise at a point, me being the only married one out of my group of friends, I could advise, and truthfully, there are times where I'm not gonna say I thought I was better than, but I thought I knew better because I was married and they wasn't. But the truth is, everybody on their own path and journey. Like, there are lessons that I may have learned in my early 20s that they now learning we in our 30s. You know what I'm saying? But there's things that they know and have knowledge of that I don't. So I feel like it's okay to have those conversations, but when you spilling all the business, now it's just kind of like you putting your person, your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your husband or your wife in a disadvantage with the other people that you care about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you just got to be careful and pick and choose what information you disclose. And then there's an old saying I always say, chew the meat, spit out the bone. You know what I'm saying? Because all advice ain't good advice. And somebody could give you a whole bunch of advice, but it don't even apply to your specific situation. So you just kind of got to hear it for what it is. Be like, okay, you know what I'm saying? And then take that, apply what you feel you need to apply, and the rest of it, I appreciate it. But we're going to sit that over here. Well, that's the video of the day with Conversations with Q. My guests, Sydney and Randy. Peace.